Good lord, I'm rusty.
Okay. Oh, hey there. You can see there. What is up, guys? Faces Gaming here, and welcome back to another tier list video. Today, we're not going to be doing a simple ranking. Nah. As you saw by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be going through all of the Ratchet and Clank games from Ratchet 1 to Rift Apart. And I'm going to talk about my one favorite weapon from the entire game. Or class of weapons, I should say. Because as you'll see in this list, there'll probably be like two games that'll probably have more than one, and I'll explain it as we go. So as you can see here, standard tier list procedure. There's no criteria for this list, so you don't have to worry about it. Man, wow, I know. First video in over 2 months. I know, weird, right? Alright, let's get to it. So starting with Ratchet 1. My favorite weapon from Ratchet 1 is the Devastator. And also, I should mention, we are not going to be factoring in Omega weapons, Gold weapons, or Rhino and Rhino type weapons. So none of those will be on this list. The Devastator from Ratchet 1, it's your standard rocket launcher. 25 shots in the gun, of course. And it does very good damage throughout the whole game. But then again, every weapon in Ratchet 1 is usable throughout the entirety of the game. Except maybe the decoy glow up. That's mostly used for glitches and, clipping out of bounds and whatnot. Especially on Railgar. But yeah, every time I go back to Ratchet 1, I always pull out the Devastator. I get excited every time I get it. Now, honorable mention, this game would probably be the gold Devastator, probably, if I could put it on the list. But that's the honorable mention there. For Ratchet 2, as you can see here, we have the Blitz gun / Blitz cannon. Okay, now Ratchet 2 is the first Ratchet and Clank game to introduce the whole leveling up system. And the Blitz gun has always been my favorite because of the demo discs from way back in the day. For a lot of y'all, probably too young to even know what a demo disc is. My unk status is showing. But the Blitz gun has always been my favorite in Ratchet 2. Honorable mention goes to the Bouncer, but the Bouncer will appear later on the list. Ever since I first used this Blitz gun in one of the demo discs for PS2, it's always been my favorite. Even when it upgrades into the Blitz cannon, don't get me wrong, this gun falls off a cliff once you get into the later planets, but I still like to use it. I still love to use the Blitz gun, and the Blitz cannon is still my favorite weapon in this game. I was this close to picking the Bouncer, but the Bouncer's later on the list, that's it. Alright, for Up Your Arsenal or Ratchet 3, we have the Rift Inducer, or its upgraded variant, the Rift Ripper, but the Rift Inducer. This weapon is fun. I just recently did a whole marathon of every Ratchet and Clank game, and I own them all now. Own every single Ratchet and Clank game. Well, not own them, just played them all. And using the Rift Ripper and the Plasma Storm, which is an honorable mention in this game, of course. I think it's even better in this game than it is in the Going Commando. But the Rift Inducer or Rift Ripper is really good. It's really good. It does as the name suggests. It shoots out a rift, and any enemy that's not fortunate enough to get close to it will get sucked into the black hole. Now, if the enemy is a little bit tougher, they'll take some damage before they get sucked in. And on challenge mode, this is a great way to get your multiplier up really quickly if you're trying to go for, all the Omega weapons, the Rhino, the best armor in the game, you name it. I've also been considering doing a armor tier list. I looked around. I really couldn't find anything, to be honest with you. Couldn't find any tier lists that had all the armors. I might have to do that myself, but yeah, for the Rift Inducer for Ratchet 3, definitely my favorite. As for Deadlock, or Ratchet 4 as some people call it, we have the Arbiter. Honorable mention does go to the Leviathan, to the Scorpion Flail. It definitely goes there. But the Arbiter, or as it's called, the Arbiter is, a rocket launcher like we've had in the previous 3 games. The Decimator in Ratchet 3, the Mini-Tube Rocket in Ratchet 1, and of course the Devastator in Ratchet 1. Of course. But the Arbiter, any weapon in this game, with the ice mod is really good. And the Arbiter with the ice mod, I didn't think would be good though, but after my recent playthrough of Deadlock, I tried it. Let me tell you. Then again, that's not saying much because the ice mod is the best mod in this game, so not saying much. But Arbiter is my favorite to pull out and use, especially because I don't remember if I leveled it up all the way. And it is like the second strongest. It's like the second to third strongest weapon in the game, behind, of course, the Harbinger. V99 Harbinger just completely destroys everything. And the Scorpion Flail, of course, does great damage. Even the mini turret, even the mini turret does some good damage. But those are all just honorable mentions, of course. Okay, next up we have Size Matters, and the only weapon that really matters besides that's a joke. The only weapon that really does any sort of damage besides the Rhino is of course the dual lacerators. Fully maxed, like fully upgraded dual lacerators, I should say. Not the Titan variants. Let's talk about the fully upgraded. As many people will know if you played Size Matters, all the weapons in this game do nothing. They deal so little damage. Like, the weapons in this game are so incredibly weak. Unfortunately, the dual lacerators, even against auto destruct, if you don't have the Rhino, without the Rhino in challenge mode, we're talking the initial playthrough, this weapon is your best weapon for dealing a lot of damage. It can rip through auto shield and health like nothing, but it's going to do so really low. And ammo is going to be a problem because of the fast fire rate of these weapons. So if you don't have the PDA and you don't have a lot of bolts, this is going to be rough, because if you die, and you probably will die because this game's damage output, ouchie, you're probably not gonna have a lot of ammo. You're probably not gonna have a lot of bulk to get the ammo for the dual lacerator. So yeah, that just is a lot. But these are really the only weapon beside the Rhino that really mean anything. Or maybe even maybe even the Muinator, maybe. But my favorite, of course, is the dual lacerator. A lot of yapping aside. Alright, Tools of Destruction, we have the Negotiator. When you know it, it's another rocket launcher. I mean, honorable mention does go to the Magnet launcher, and of course the Groovatron, obviously, because this is the game it originated in. Negotiator is your standard rocket launcher, and it's the second. Realistically, it's the strongest weapon in this game. It has the highest power level in this game. Not even the Rhino 4, even fully maxed and fully leveled, even comes close. That's the crazy part. Yeah, that's the crazy part. And the Magnet launcher is the second strongest. That's crazy. The Rhino 4 really is not all that special, even when you fully level it up. And I have. Unfortunately, I thought the power level will go up significantly once I get it max level. No, unfortunately not. Alright, Secret Agent Clank. As you can see, we have two weapons. We have a Clank weapon and a Ratchet weapon. That's just how the game works. The game, of course, this game is split up into three sections. You have the Clank sections, the Ratchet arena, and the Quark minigames. Quark doesn't have any weapons of note, so that's why he's not on the list. So, my favorite weapon for Clank, as of recent, is the Thunderstorm Umbrella. Like, literally, this weapon reminds me so much of the Splitting Hydra from Ratchet 3. You hold down your shoot button to charge it up for a certain amount of time. Once you see the umbrella enveloped in electricity fully charged, you let go, and it deals a ton of damage. It eats through ammo like nothing else, but the trade-off is nice because it does a lot of damage. As for Ratchet, my favorite weapon is, of course, the Mine Launcher. Now, honorable mentions for Secret Agent Clank are for Clank, the Tyrant, and the Carnation, which is a trap weapon. For Ratchet, it'll probably be the Electro Rocket and the Pork Bomb gun. If we're gonna be honest, those two weapons are really fun to use. But these are my favorite weapons for this game in particular. Especially because Ratchet's weapons get a ton of different mods. Like, the Mine Launcher gets the bouncing mod from Deadlock, because the Mine Launcher in that game also had a bouncing mod. And the mine launcher in Secret Agent Clank it works exactly the same as the mine launcher from Deadlock. So keep that in mind. Okay, Kraken. Okay, so Quest for Booty. All the weapons in this game return from Tools of Destruction. Obviously, my favorite, except for like the magnet launcher and the negotiator and stuff like that. My favorite weapon in Quest for Booty has always been the Predator launcher, just because it deals a ton of damage. It eats through, like on the lower difficulty, it eats through Slag's health bar, Sprocket's health bar, and it just kills enemies in general. So that's why it's my favorite. And plus, I've been playing Quest for Booty for nearly almost 2 decades. So yeah. All right. For a Kraken Tom, there's 3 weapons. I decided to just basically make the constructor weapons, all 3 of them, my favorite weapons to use in a Kraken Tom. We have, of course, the constructor shotgun, the constructor bomb, and the constructor pistol. The reason why I say that is because these weapons can be upgraded. We're talking different trigger types, different payouts, different damage. You can deal different damage types. You can have basically speaking, the constructor weapons, you can make them your own. For instance, the constructor bomb has a shrapnel upgrade that you can use, where every time you throw a grenade, it'll explode and into mini grenades, kind of like the upgraded fusion bomb. The constructor pistol has different trigger types. You have a charge trigger, a pulse trigger, and a rapid fire trigger. My personal favorite. And as for the shotgun, you can change the barrel to be a spread, a choke, or a lancer, which isn't my favorite. I prefer the choke because the choke tightens the bullet spread to give extra damage, in my opinion. That's how it is. Also, you can also customize the color and look of your constructor weapons, which again makes them your own. So honorable mention in this game, of course, goes to the Negotiator, obviously returning from Tools of Destruction, the Gurutron Glove, and the Magnet Launcher. And I guess I can also throw the Rift Inducer in there too as well. The Rift Inducer is also pretty good. And of course, the Chimpomatic, of course. Yeah, that's a lot of honorable mentions. Not gonna lie. Alright, all for one, there's always been only one weapon that I've always enjoyed. And it's not the Warmonger, it's not the Plasma Bomb Launcher, it's not the Combustor, it's not the Thunder Smack, and it's not all the character specific weapons like the Doppelbanger for Ratchet, the Zoni Blaster for Clank, and so on and so forth. For me, my favorite weapon in All for One has always been the Critter Strike. I've always loved it because 4 or more, like 2 or more Critter Strikes working together, that's like a ton of enemies. That's like a ton of enemies getting knocked out all at once. And the Critter Strike does come back in another form in another game, but it goes by a different name. But I've always loved the Critter Strike. It's always been my favorite. It's always been my favorite weapon. Always been my favorite weapon in All for One. As for Full Frontal Assault, I didn't get very far in the Full Frontal Assault, but I did get to try out a good bit of weapons like the Doppelbanger came back, the Pyrociter came back, and of course my favorite weapon, the Combustor. The Combustor works exactly like it did in All for One, in All for One, Quest for Booty, and Tools of Destruction. It's the Combustor. You can't go wrong with the Combustor, you really can't. Now, I haven't fully played Full Frontal Assault. I gave myself a taste of the full game by completing the first full planet. So, keep that in mind. As for Into the Nexus, it's the Warmonger. I really didn't have to think much about it. The Warmonger really is the best weapon in this game. It really is. It's the best weapon in any game, it seems. Realistically, it really is. Because it deals a ton of damage, has a lot of ammo, and when you upgrade it to the Peacekeeper, well, you just won anything. And against the final boss Into the Nexus, good lord, the amount of damage you do. Unless you're on hero mode, and unless you're on legend mode, difficulty, which is the hard mode in this game, the Rhino 7 is gonna take care of it, no problem. But Warmonger is really good. Honorable mention for this game does go to the Winterizer, the Singlet, the Black Hole Glove, and the Nether Beast. Be honest. A lot of, like, basically all the nether weapons in this game, even the Nightmare Box. Okay, 2016, we're wrapping it up. For 2016, we have the Bouncer. So remember how I said all the way back in Ratchet 2 that the Bouncers could be later on this list? That's because the 2016 Bouncer, I think is the better one, because rare titanium equals more upgrades, equals more ammo, more damage, more area of effect. You get the idea. The same thing can be said for the Bouncer in the Rift Apart. It's the exact same weapon, exact same upgrades. Yeah. I mean, I've always loved the Bouncer. I always loved it. I love it in Ratchet 2. I love it in Ratchet 3. But in Ratchet 2016, it just hits a little. It hits a little better. And the Warmonger is in this game too, but I didn't want to pick the Warmonger twice. So that's why 2016, the Bouncer's here. Honorable mention does go to the Sheepinator, the Warmonger, of course, and I think one more. Oh yeah, the Pixelizer. I know a lot of people don't like the Pixelizer, but I like the Pixelizer, of course. It even came back in Rift Apart. Go figure. And speaking of Rift Apart, my favorite weapon from my first playthrough, and going back and doing a whole nother playthrough of Rift Apart recently, like literally, what I want to say, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. No, 2 days ago. My favorite weapon is the Cold Snap. Like, literally, you shoot an ice block, you literally shoot a block of ice that hits the ground and explodes in an area of effect. Any enemy that gets caught in there gets instantly frozen. You can hit them with your wrench or your hammer if you're rivet, and they get killed instantly. Honorable mention: this game goes to the Topiary Sprinkler, the Mr. Fungo, the Warmonger, the Bouncer, of course, and the Ricochet Rocket. Yeah, the Ricochet Rocket is really cool. It's really cool. But obviously, the best weapon in this game, and my favorite weapon in this game, is the Cold Snap. Love this weapon. Alright, that was pretty quick. Didn't really take too long. I can also use this weapon. I can also use this tier list. You can see it has all the weapons from every single Ratchet and Clank game, even Secret Agent Clank and Size Matters. But that is my favorite weapon from every single Ratchet and Clank game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I tried not to make this video too long. Didn't want to get too much. But first video back after a while. I literally had this idea ever since I started doing this marathon. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. There's going to be some videos coming out pretty soon. I don't know when they are. I can't exactly be like, oh guys, this video's going to come out this day. You'll just have to wait and see. But thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Love you guys so much.